For years now, Mini's been teasing the idea of an electric Mini. We've had hybrids, we've had concepts, we've had electric Minis available overseas, and now finally the electric Mini is available in Australia. It's a basic format utilising the existing 3-door Mini body, but with the engine replaced with an electric motor and a bunch of batteries stuffed into the floor. There's a single model variant known as the First Edition, which sells from $59,900 drive away. It comes with a generous smattering of gear, wireless phone charging, heated seats, Harman Kardon sound system and a head-up display. So yes, one of the big sales pitches is that it is very mini. It looks like a Mini for the most part, but you obviously get some changes. Plenty of this yellow paint. You also get a unique grille and lots of these stylised E's all over the car. It's all very normal inside as well, which does have its compromises here and there. Things like the central, what was a speedo in the old Mini, these days the infotainment screen, done a little bit differently in here. So they've sort of forced a horizontal infotainment screen in there, and got Apple CarPlay, and got the trip computer, and got a bunch of other stuff, so not exactly ideal. Now around most of that infotainment screen you got this sort of glowing LED. At the moment it's yellow, but I flick it down, for example, and all of a sudden it goes to quite a vibrant green. That tells you that you're in the green mode. I flick it down one more and I go into green plus, where it really dulls the throttle sensitivity, but it also changes a whole bunch of other stuff. So for example, all of a sudden I can't have air conditioning, I can't have heated seats, it just instantly turns them off. So it's a bit of a compromised mode. Go back into green mode, e-driving, and again it does try and save a little bit of electricity, try and maximise your battery range, but probably the best is that mid-level. They call it a balance setting, so that sort of works a little bit better, and you've got access to that torque, that really nice sort of pull, a lot earlier on. Or you can go straight up to see the red mist, sport mode, dynamic setting, and again it's much more sensitive in terms of the throttle. In any mode though, you've only got 2 regenerative braking modes, so you've got quite aggressive, let your foot off the throttle and have it wash off the speed by reversing the flow of those electrons in the motor, or you can go down to a duller setting. You've got to get used to your switches here, there's quite a few of them. So go down to half mode and all of a sudden you've got, it's a little bit more relaxed when you lift off the throttle. You've also got a fully digital instrument cluster. It's got a really nice matte finish on it, so it doesn't go getting any glares or anything from the sun, any reflections, but it hasn't got a whole lot of functionality. You've got this sort of power mode on the left here, which tells you how much of the electric motor you're using in terms of maximum output, and then off to the right you've got a battery meter, which is done from 100% down to 0%. But it's in these big chunks. You almost want just the standard percentage readout, which you can dial up by pressing the trip computer button, but it's tiny down in the bottom screen. Now, while we're on the subject of batteries, of course, the big thing is range. Now, Mini claims this will get 233 Ks out of a charge. My experience is you're not going to get anywhere near that. It's more like 170 Ks in everyday real world driving. That's still okay, but look, it's not up there with your Teslas and most other electric cars that easily these days do more than 200, some of them up to 400 or 500. So you're obviously well off that. So I guess think of it more as an around town car, a second car. On the charging front, you've got a Type 2 CCS combo for the DC charging, and that goes up to 50 kilowatts. So it'll do you a decent charge. You'll be able to motor along all right, but again, it's not about fast charging interstate hopping, it's more about around town. Probably the big thing for a lot of people is how mini is it? Does it really keep all that those really cool mini attributes? And yes, you get a bit of that go-kartiness. There's a bit of dullness in the steering. They haven't quite got that alertness that other Minis have got, particularly mid-corner. You just don't quite have the feel there. But look, certainly nice direct steering. The low centre of gravity, the battery's low in the car. Make sure that around corners it's pretty well behaved. So on the whole, yes, they've done a decent job. There's a single electric motor, and in true Mini fashion it drives the front wheels. Peak power is a modest 135 kilowatts, but it's backed up with 270 newton meters of torque. And in true electric car style, it's really easily accessible from the second you step on the throttle. So performance is absolutely fine. You step on it, it goes quite well. You've got that really nice torque to pull it along nicely from low speed. So it's got a bit of zippiness. They claim 0 to 100 in 7.3 seconds, so not as fiery as a JCW, but certainly perky enough to maintain its Mini standards. One challenge with the Mini Electric's trying to work out how and where and why it fits into the market. You're talking 60 grand drive away, so it's a fair whack of money. You're paying probably 10 to 15 more than an equivalent Mini, so there's plenty going into that electric drive system. But I guess you've got to look at it and how it feeds in with the other electric cars on the market. It's a fair whack cheaper than the Tesla Model 3, for example, but it's more expensive than a Nissan Leaf. So sitting between those two, it's not going to be an everyday electric car for a lot of people. You've only got 2 doors, the range is fairly limited, but look, it's fun. It does what it says on the box. It brings Mini electric, zero emissions driving to that Mini funness. So don't expect the Mini Electric to change the electric car game. It's simply not going to do that, but it does add some depth, it adds some fun, it adds some flair to the electric car market.